Agriculture water quality is regulated under the Food Safety Modernization Act Produce Safety Rule. Protecting the safety and quality of your fresh produce is very important. Subpart E of the FSMA Produce Safety Rule states that all agricultural water must be safe and of adequate sanitary quality for its intended use. The term water quality is used to describe the chemical, biological, and physical characteristics of water. Microbial water quality is determined by the presence or absence of pathogens, harmful microorganisms that could cause disease if ingested. Pathogens can be introduced into on-farm water supplies and contaminate crops. Testing the quality of water used for agricultural purposes is the best way to monitor and assess risks of contamination for agricultural water. The current EPA standard for allowable E. coli is less than or equal to 126 colony forming units, or CFU, per 100 milliliters for production water, and no detectable E. coli per 100 milliliters for post-harvest water. The FSMA Produce Safety Rule requires that samples of agricultural water be representative of water used during growing activities. To comply with this, it is important to be mindful of all the ways water is used and the sources of sample water. When sampling from a river or pond, the sampling location should be taken as close to the point of intake as possible. Well water samples should be taken from the tap used to draw production water. For public water supplies, water testing is typically performed regularly, and test results can be obtained from the utility. It may be a good practice to sample and test at the point of use to ensure that there are no issues with the water distribution system. The person collecting water samples must use a sterile bottle for all samples and not contaminate the bottle when removing the lid. To start, sample collectors must wash their hands thoroughly with soap and water. Gloves may be used but are not required. Do not rinse the cups prior to sampling. This could introduce microorganisms which do not represent the source of water being sampled. For surface water, a sampling aid such as a sampling stick may be used. Dip the sample bottle up to a depth of 6 to 12 inches. The mouth of the bottle should face opposite to water flow. If water is static, create a current by moving the sample bottle horizontally away from your body. Then move the top of the bottle slightly upward to allow air to exit. For well water, run the pump for a few minutes to make sure the water in the well riser is not sampled. Make sure the sample represents the current well water. While collecting a sample, do not fill the bottle to the brim. Leave head space to allow mixing of the sample before analysis. Store the samples in a cooler at less than 50 degrees Fahrenheit and record the time of sampling. Do not freeze the samples. Most labs will have time frames between sampling and testing to adhere to. Generally, it is required for the sample to arrive at the lab within 6 hours of taking it. Follow these steps to help ensure that your produce stays clean and maintains its safety and quality from the time it is planted to the time that it is delivered to your customer.